Hello, and welcome along to the stream tonight. I believe this thing is on, Manfred. Can you confirm? I hope so. The slight delay there in me coming online was my automated tweet didn't happen again, and I don't know why. It's kind of annoying. I do everything I think is needed to make it work, and it doesn't. So, makes me a little bit sad. Anyway, welcome along to the stream tonight. Hello, Maurice. How are you tonight? So the stream tonight, we are planning to continue working on the... You're alive. That is a great start. It's kind of the base level, so you can only get better from there. So I'm glad to hear it. I'm good. Been a long day at the office today, but no, it's been good. So I had a daddy-daughter date with my youngest yesterday, which was good fun. So we went to see a film together. I would like to say it was a masterpiece of cinema and all that sort of stuff, but no, it really wasn't. It was Paw Patrol. It was Paw Patrol. What was it called? Ready Race Rescue. If anyone out there is familiar with Paw Patrol and the cartoon genius that is that, I was watching that in the cinema yesterday. So that was me. It was good fun though. I've heard that. I feel sorry for her if that's the case. I do. I was sort of hoping she looked more like her mum, but I guess we'll see. She's a little monkey, but no, she's great fun. Anyway, back to the stream. So tonight we are going to be continuing working on this thing called Chocolatey VS Code. So on Friday's stream, if anyone was watching along, we got a lesson on how to configure Dependabot properly from both Kim, who's on the stream, and also from Maurice as well. I didn't realize that. Oh no, that's a lie. I knew that Dependabot was amazing. I didn't quite know that it covered a lot of my OCD tendencies for certain things as well. So when I figured that out, I've actually went and re-implemented some of those changes on another organization that I work with as well, because it's amazing. So shave your beard off and so it's getting to the point where it's itchy. I need to have a shave again. I'm just lazy. It's what it comes down to. I don't like shaving. I really don't. And if I can avoid it, I do. She'll be reverse Gary. Looking better the older she gets. Well, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I'd be happy for her if that's the case. So yeah, Dependabot. So just before I came on the stream, there was another 7 PRs into this repository, which I have set Dependabot off doing its thing. So it's already gone and merged in 3 of the 9. And it's continuing. So I'm hoping it's going to get down to having 1 left. The reason I say that is because this one here was actually causing build failure, so I'm kind of waiting to see if that's going to continue to cause a build failure rather than letting it merge it in. So we'll come back and look at that one. So the first thing I wanted to look at tonight was that Maurice, just before the stream, pointed out something that is incorrect, and we need to fix it. So as part of this overall work for this VS Code extension for Chocolatey, we have this concept of rules. So when the language server implementation for Chocolatey picks up an error or a warning or something it wants to provide as an information message, we also have this documentation that covers what to actually do when that thing appears. So in VS Code, that's surfaced as a little tooltip. You hover or you click or you hover on the tooltip, and then it redirects you to this page to get more information. And that's great. But Maurice pointed out that this is currently living in the Chocolatey VS Code repository. Now, that's probably not the correct place for it anymore, because what we ended up doing is we ended up segregating out the VS Code extension from the actual language server implementation. So over here on the Chocolatey language server, this is where all the rules live. So the documentation for the rules should sit with the implementation of it. The VS Code extension is really just surfacing those errors. And given that we have a Visual Studio extension in the works as well, we want that documentation to be pointing in the same direction. So both the VS Code extension and the VS extension will point to the same place. And that same place is going to be living in this repository. So effectively, we just need to move the code that is the makeup of those files and push them over to the other repository. So in order to facilitate that, so if we have a look here, at the minute we have only a develop and master branch here. We're going to need a GitHub Pages branch to host those published documentation files as well. I see Brett's just joined the chat room as well. Evening, Brett. How are you? It's good to have you along. We're doing a little bit of documentation to start with tonight, and then we're going to crack on with hopefully some more code. But documentation is important, so we're gonna run with that. So right now, all of the documentation for the VS Code extension lives in this docs input folder. So this is where all of the assets, the CSS, the actual information about the commands that we expose, the rules that we expose, they all live in this docs input folder. So if I've thought about this properly, and it's entirely possible that I haven't, then all that we should have to do is cut it from here and paste it into here. Son of a... No, you're right. So we will have two. Oh, that complicates things in my head. That complicates things slightly. But no, you're right. Because the commands, as they're currently documented, so the commands here are specifically for VS Code. There'll likely be a no. Which parts no? What did I say that you're saying no to? What that will probably end up with, though, is 3 documentation sites. So do we want to have that, or do we want to have just a standalone? Okay, perfect. Do we just want to have a standalone website that covers all the docs? What I'm thinking about there is if we walk over to Cake Contrib, still can't spell cake, or Contrib. I should just give up. Contrib. So I'll just finish my thought process, and I think I will come to the same conclusion that Maurice has just come to. But if we have a look at what Pascal has done here, then there are several cake.issues add-ins covering ESLint, reporting, inspect code. There's lots of them, right? But what what Pascal did is he created another repository that is the sole repository for the documentation, and he hosts it all under one place. So everything comes here as cakeissues.net, rather than going off to Chocolatey VS Code, Chocolatey VS, Chocolatey Language Server. But yes, no, I think you're right. For now, then, okay, let's copy this guy again and put him back over there. So he won't be impacted. But what we will do is we will look at the inputs, and we will look in the docs, and we will remove the rules. You can link from VS Code VS to the language server folder. You can link from VS. You can link from to the language server. That's correct. Yes, no, we could. We could definitely do that. Yes, I agree. So over here, if we go to the input folder and we remove the commands from this one, leaving only the rules. Now, that is going to have a little bit of a problem, but we'll come to that. For now, let's just see if this works. So in theory, we should be able to walk up to target equals preview. So this project makes use of cake.recipe. Cake.recipe already knows how to construct, preview, build the documentation for YAM, which is what we're using to generate the documentation. So, in theory, all of this should work. My PowerShell window is indeed too small, Maurice, because it hasn't been able to handle Chocolatey Language Server. But if that's the only problem that one has, I'm going to accept it. Because yeah, in order for this streaming setup, I had to make the resolution of this thing quite small, so there's not many pixels on the screen here. I'm actually using for what you see here is a quarter of my monitor, but it's the best way of getting the stream out. It's a deal. A deal is in the house. Hello. The cake add-in should. We spoke about that on the stream on Friday, I think, Maurice, where we suggested that the add-in should be aware of the console size. There goes the neighbourhood. Brett knows the deal too well. No, welcome along, everyone. Welcome along. I'm silently. I'm wondering why this has taken so long. I was kind of trying to fill in the silence there for you to not notice that it's taking longer than I expected it to. But in theory, oh, there it goes. There it goes. If all of this works, we should get a new web server spawned up with a specific port, and we could then browse to that on it's Chrome that I have open. Then we should be able to see if the documentation site works at all, and if it does, we can push it. Bam, bam, bam. So it's running on here. So if we grab this guy and go over here and paste it in, then in theory, it's there. So things like the title might have to change, because this is now the Chocolatey Language Server protocol implementation as opposed to the Chocolatey Code extension. But that's in the index.cshtml, so we can change that. the header on the top left here, maybe Xi. There are some constraints on the user interface as it currently stands. One of those is the space made available to that header. We can change the title, but for now the default is Chocolatey Language Server. So it's suffering from the same problem as our PowerShell console is, because there's not enough space. Now, the main thing that's different between this site and the site that we've got running up here is that this one doesn't have an API section. So the API section is coming from the fact that YAM, the documentation generator that we're using, has reached into the CS files that sit in this repository, and it has brought out any public classes, objects, types, etc. that it knows about, and it's created this documentation that goes with it. So it has information about all the types. It gives you some pretty diagrams, yada yada yada. You get all that. You get all of that for free. The thing that it has done in the same way that the existing one does is it has brought out these tasks. Now, these tasks were added originally into cake.recipe because it was trying to provide information about how the thing's actually being built. We kind of decided nowadays that we don't actually want this, so I'm probably going to turn this off. And for that, I need to remember how to do it. So I need to dig into the code to find that. But now that this is running, let's grab another PowerShell window so that we can start manipulating the code a little bit. So we're going to go into GitHub, Organizations, Get13, Live Streams. There we go. No, that's not where we want to go at all, is it? Nope, completely the wrong place. Chocolatey, Community, Chocolatey, and we're in here. So if I open up code here, then what we should be able to do is we should be able to look at our recipe.cake file, and then in here there should be a parameter that we can set. So if we expand through cake.recipe and look at the available parameters, which are here, then one of these is going to be called graph. Should deploy graph documentation. It's that one. Copy. And I'm going to put this into here and say should deploy graph documentation as false. And I don't think that will cause a rebuild. But let's shut it down. So the way that I ran YAM there is I ran it in watch mode. So whenever any of the underlying input files change, it would actually regenerate the site on the fly. And it will rebuild the site with the new source files generated as output files. Now, the reason that didn't cause it to be rebuilt when I changed that recipe.cake file is because that's not an input file for YAM, so it didn't cause it to rebuild. And I'm just reading that message from Maurice there that says that Manfred is currently doing his moderation thing, which is great. So our thanks go out to Manfred as he currently works on the moderation queue on chocolatey.org. So thank you very much. I see he's currently focusing on the submitted queue, so I'm hoping he might be jumping on to the responded one as well when he gets a second, because I've not had a chance to do it, I'll be honest. Because if you get down to zeros across the three main queues there, that would be amazing. So we'll see how he gets on. We'll check in on them by the end of the stream and see what he gets to, shall we? So if we go back to here now, I'm hoping It's still there. Oh no, it's still there because it won't have cleaned it up in the output, I don't think. So let's have a quick look and see if that's what it is. If we go up here and look at language server and look at docs input, if we remove the tasks folder, that should have caused YAM to regenerate, which it has. And then if we do a rebuild, if it refreshed automatically, now we've only got the docs, which is the rules, and that is all of them in there. Okay, cool. So that's what we wanted, I think. So all of these are running and we're generating them. Okay, cool. So that's there. The API is there, which makes sense. The thing that we need to change here is this part. So that is in the docs index.cshtml. Manfred's saying that, or Maurice is saying that Manfred should just push everything back. I'd rather he didn't. So the title is the Chocolatey language. Oh no, maybe not that. The title, yeah. Chocolatey language server protocol implementation. That's quite a long few words there, but is that actually what I want to call it? .NET LSP. Is the P protocol? I think the P is protocol. Oh, maybe not. Oh, I'm so confused. I'm seeing different suggestions as to what LSP. So it's either provider or it's protocol. Language server. I'm going to go with protocol. Language server protocol implementation. Chocolatey language server implementation. Chocolatey language server protocol implementation. This holds the providing rules for inspecting Chocolatey packaging files in Visual Studio Code and Visual Studio. Full stop. Beautiful. We won't have the commands anymore. We'll just have that one. The CLSPI project just rolls off the tongue, that one, doesn't it? Chocolatey language server protocol implementation. I love it. Rolls off the tongue. Look at that. Okay, provide rules, and then we learn more, and that takes us to the docs, and then we've got the docs and the API. Okay, that looks good to me. So, while I've got a few of you on the chat room, one of the things that I wanted to check with you about, the first one I know the answer to, so I'm going to get rid of GEP13 here, and I'm going to put in Chocolatey community, Chocolatey VS Code, and that will take care of where this link goes to. The other one is this open chat. So this open chat is Gitter sidecar. Now, Gitter sidecar is currently pointing at GEP13 OSS community. Now, that was correct when it was hosted under my organization, which was GEP13 OSS, and I created a community Gitter chat room for that purposes. Now, we don't have, or we do have a Chocolatey community one. So let's just have a look. Or do we? We've got a Chocolatey core team packages, but we don't have, where's the thing I'm looking for? What's still on? I'm confused by what you're saying there, Maurice. What's the thing I'm looking for? Have a look. Getter.im. I thought there was a way to group this by community rather than room. Huh. Has that changed? So what do we have if we go to Chocolatey community? We don't have anything. Maybe we should create one, should we? Create a community? I think we should create a community. Chocolatey community. Do you want to start a community for one of your GitHub projects? Maybes. Why don't I see it? Should maybe do this over here so we can all see it. Getter.im. I'm gonna sign in to start talking. I'm gonna sign in with GitHub. And where I went to was down here, and I said create community, and then it said you want to do it for one of your GitHub projects, and I said yes. You will need to grant. That's maybe why. How do we grant access to the community? Why isn't GitHub organization or repos? The first thing you need to check is blah 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 blah. Copy link address. Put this in here. Is there a getter in here? Next. There is, look. There's a getter one. And it doesn't have, look. So if I do that, and I put my password. So this part you can't see. This part I've done off stream because it's still my New Year's resolution that I don't give out any public tokens or passwords on the stream. It's still my aim this year, and so far that has been working. So having done that, is that going to be automatically happening, or will I need to sign out and sign back in again? Access request, done that. Transfer, nope. No. So let's go back, shall we? Getter.im and say, oh, I should probably reply to Jonathan there. Oh, there it is, look. Right. So there's the Chocolatey community. Think big, start small, grow fast. Chocolatey community, associated with Chocolatey community. Next. Ooh, okay. Create and finish. What does that do? What does that give us? Chocolatey community/community. I think that just rolls off the tongue. What do we think? Should we do that? Should we go with that? I'm going to wait for a year or nay. Ship it. Beautiful. Love it. I was trying to search for other users. Kevin R. That guy. And then at Myron Worm. That guy. And SCH Buster Fred Ull. And this is where you tell me that's not your. Are you Manfred? Or UM Walner. Oh, there you're there. I saw you. I saw you. You were right there. You're in the list. There we go. Click. Beautiful. Add people to this room. Do I need to share that? No. Okay, so you're in. Right, you're in. Beautiful. Okay. Close this. So that means I need to take this from here. Oh no. No. That was the wrong copy. I'm going to grab this. And I'm going to put this into here. Like that. Okay. Thank you very much for the cheer there, Manfred. So that's that. So let's have a quick look at our get ignore here. So the recipe.cake, we removed the graph generation. We added that, but we updated it. We added that. Okay, so we're going to say doc added. He almost has 1,000 more than me. He's on a roll. I'm not actually keeping up on. Oh, I'm sorry. I really should. I shouldn't really admit something like that, should I? Manfred is currently on 2,301 cheer bits. I think bits they're called. But yes, thank you very much. I think it's just another 100. Thank you. Add docs from other repo. This will house all the rules documentation. Leaving the other repo for VS Code specific docs. I think it's close enough. Right. Okay. So I could push that, but it's not going to work. Right. So what I need to do is I need to go over to the old blog here, and I need to look at archive here, and I need to search here for orphan. No. GH page. There we go. Because I never remember how to do this, so I wrote a blog post on how to do it. So this allows me to set up an orphaned GH pages branch specifically for housing the documentation that is what we're doing here. So I'm going to pull this code here. In fact, I'm going to use the button. There's a button. I'm going to click that. So we're over here on... What we'll do is we will stop the YAM generation because it will get confused. Is that also possible with switch? I don't understand the question. Which part? The GH branches or something else? So I'm going to go ahead and paste that code into here. It's going to do some stuff with the stuff. You are... Oh, this is an old document. So no, almost certainly. I don't know. That's a very good question. I don't know the answer. Git switch. I can't even type it. Orphan. What was the command? Orphan. Yep. New unparented branch. It looks like there's a direct swap out for it. So no, it looks like you can. It looks like you can. So git push upstream. Yes. That's what I want to do. I think. And then I also want to do git push upstream of that guy. So that will, if we go back over here and look at Chocolatey Language Server Protocol, and we do a refresh here, and we look at, we've now got a GitHub Pages branch, and in that GitHub Pages branch has nothing but an index.html in it. So that's what we added in. Then what we're going to do is now we can do the commit. The commit will then attempt to write the generate the documentation and put it into there. I should update my blog post. I should do a lot of things. I don't know if I will. So ci.appfair. Okay. As a side note, I mentioned on Friday's stream that there is an LSP specific channel in the OmniSharp team, Slack team, and I know Kim expressed an interest in getting added to that, but I think you did as well, Maurice. So if you can DM me your preferred email address for getting added to that Slack team. I've just been given a nod from David Driscoll to invite you in. So if you can send me the preferred email address, I can try and invite you. Perfect. I will get some folks invited in. Thanks. So David Driscoll, he's the guy behind the C# language server protocol thing. Genuinely nice guy. Met him at MVP Summit last year. So he's just replied to me on Slack to say that I can invite some folks in there. So I'll get that done once I get a message from. I've probably already got a message from Maurice, have I? Let's have a look. I do. So okay, let's do that while we're here. Copy. Down here, and then invite folks, and then we paste that in there. Okay, so you should have an invite into that Slack team to join up, Maurice, just now. Okay, so where did we get to? So I was going to check something, which was whether or not my commit that I'm away to push in. I can't do that because I'm on the wrong branch, so I need to go back over here, and I need to say get status, git switch develop. Okay, so now I want to check code, and I want to check this recipe.cake file. Oh no, the appfair YAML file. Where's that? appfair.yaml. And it is expressly doing what I thought it was going to do. Skip builds for document. So we don't actually want that. So I'm going to remove that. And I'm going to say build. Don't skip builds for doc changes. I'm going to commit that, and if I've done that, now if we push, so I'm on a different window than I was before, so if I do git push upstream, and then git push origin, git push origin. Manfred, talking about Slack, did you get my message? Feeling left out? It might have been the same one that you sent to me, though, was it? Or was it something different? So if we go back to projects and we look at Chocolatey Language Server. So hopefully what this will do is it will build our LSP assembly, create a new Git package, it'll do all the normal stuff, but as the final part of the build, it will, this might still fail. This might fail because it's missing some environment variables, but let's have a wee check. Let's have a wait, see if it passes or not. And if it does fail, I'm going to do the addition of those environment variables over on another screen, because, again, for the reasons I quoted earlier, yeah, it's going to fail. It's going to fail quite badly. But if we do a wee duplicate here and go over here, no, not that one, here, and we go to this one. So in order to be able to publish the oh, that's a good point. In order, let me finish what I was trying to say there. In order to publish the website, what have I done? Am I just talking to myself? In order to publish the website, we need a GitHub user token to be able to make the commit and push it back to the repository into that GH pages branch that we spoke about. Now, we don't currently have a Chocobot user, or do we? Do we have a Chocobot user currently on this one? Mother Hubbard. I promise what? What have I done? What have I done? Or what have I not done? Did it happen? Are we at 0? Hold on. Hold on. Let me check. Is that what we're talking about? Screen go. So I'm seeing it at 2. Is that not what you're seeing? I'm seeing it at 2. Is this a caching issue again? Oh, they're pending automated review, so they're not on the queue. Woohoo! Thank you very much, Manfred. Are you in a little position to have a look at the responded queue as well? Because I think some of them might just be kind of needing worked along. Some of them might be actual responded, like I might follow up with them. But if you could have a little cheeky wee look, that would be great. But woohoo! Thank you very much for your time on the moderation queue. It is very much appreciated, as always. Because, yeah, don't always get to do as much on there as I would necessarily like. How did this website get published at all before? Because I'm not seeing environment variables for anything. So I'm slightly confused. Because, or would they have? No, or did we created new projects because I moved them from the other one? So if I go over here, I'm sorry, I know you can't see any of this, but like I say, I'm trying to protect my secrets. So, and we removed it from the project, unless it was under this one. It was under this one. So let's have a sneaky peek at how this one was configured. It's a good job I didn't delete it. How was this configured? Ooh, so this has got environment variables. So in theory, I should be able to borrow these, although, I'm trying, Maurice. I am trying. Do we have a Chocobot on GitHub? We do have a Chocobot on GitHub. So we should probably use his API token. his, her, them. You should use their API token rather than my own one. Yeah, their. Bots answer to their, right? So in theory, let's start by creating a couple of environment variables. So we shall copy the ones we need to start with, which is going to be this one. So I need an environment variable called the YAM access token, which is the GitHub token. And I need to know the remote that's going to be used. So in this case, we will grab all of this and we will put this in here and say language server. And we need to change this to be the Chocolatey community. Copy that later. Now that's going to be gh-pages. And then we need a token. I'm not sure whether I want to click on that or not, Maurice. But I'll come back to it. So we did that. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. So that's Chocolatey VS Code. So if I open up a new incognito window and I try and log into GitHub with the Chocobot user, or do I have one already? Token. No, there's not one. Okay. So let's see if we can create one then. So we're going to go to github.com and it's Choco-bot. That's Choco-bot. Copy password. Sign in. Oh, that clearly didn't work. Let's go over here then. Let's say we will say Choco. Okay, copy this guy then. Bot. Oh no, hold on. That might come in here. No. We're not going to be able to set up the bot just now. Because the token went to an email address that I don't have access to. Just can't do that just now. Huh. Okay, let's do this. Let's grab this guy. And we'll put this in here. We'll make it secret. And we will save that. And I should be coming back to the other screen, this screen soon, I think. So let's go here and go to environment, and we'll create the same 3 variables. Put that in there. Copy that. Chocolatey language server. Chocolatey community. And then the last one is this one. And then copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. A little bit of copy and paste in there. Okay, so with that done, I need to seemingly click on this YouTube link that Maurice has put into the chat room. Is this Bash Hunter? No. Bolton Anna. I mean, I can't hear this because it's coming from a machine that I'm not connected to. But I don't know if this is coming through. Does the sound from this come through in the stream? If it does, is it good? I have no idea what this is. Okay, I'm going to close it. Listen to it when you're. I'll come back to it. So what we need to do, though, we need to get this documentation published, and as of right now, the documentation isn't being published because of the way that cake.recipe works. It tries to only do a documentation published when documentation actually changed. So in this case, we do actually have an error. So this should be Chocolatey language server. Change that, and we will put this up and say doc fixed GitHub URL. So we can commit that, and if we do another git push upstream, and we do a git push origin. So this time the documentation should build, and it should attempt to publish through the GitHub pages branch that we created. And if all of that works, then we should go in here as well. And there was a comment that I thought I should reply to while we're here as well, which was on Git contrib from Jonathan. I'm really eager to get this thing merged in. Any chance you can view? That's going to be a ship it. There we go. That's my contribution to that conversation. Beautiful. So we did that. That's the one we're building over here. So let's wait and see if this works this time. Dun, dun, dun. How's our pull request going? So we went from 6 pull requests down to 4. Why is it not done that one? Opened 13 hours ago. Did I not do an approval on this one? Oh no, I didn't look. So this was TS-lint going from 5.20 to 6. TS-lint is just a linting library. So I can say that, that, and that. So that should allow that one to get merged then. Beautiful. Dependabot for the win. So the one that's left is this VS Code language client. Now it's causing a build error, so we will have to look into that to figure out why that's no longer working. So we'll let that reset, and then we can have a look at what's going on there. But let's get these docs finished first. Docs are taking slightly longer than I thought they would, but isn't that the way it always goes? So we don't need that. That's our local one. Don't need that or that. That's our... So we'll know if this thing works because this index.html will be replaced with the generated output from the YAM build. So we run the build, we run our static analysis. We're now generating a unit test report. Have you set up the GitHub repo for docs? Fairly sure I have. Is that not the one? Is that not what I've just been working on? Yeah, Chocolatey language server. Chocolatey language server. So it's got a GH pages, and I've added the environment variables. And now it's at least attempting to run the YAM build. So the YAM build is running. So this is the same YAM build that we were running locally. The only difference is it's not running with the watch clause anymore. So this is just generating the output, and then it will attempt a git commit of the things that were generated, and it will attempt to push them into that GitHub Pages branch on the repository. And if this works, then copying, pushing. It's at this point it will either fail or it'll work. Ooh, didn't fail. So if we go back over here and do a refresh, haha, then here's the generated output. So then if we go in here and have a sneaky peek in here, and we scroll down a little bit to this section, your site is ready to be published. So if we go and have a look over here, haha, huzzah. So we go to docs, and we expand rules, and we have some stuff, and that stuff is the rules. So that's now up and running over there, which is where we wanted it to. The GitHub link should take us to Chocolatey Community, Chocolatey Language Server, which it does. And then our chat here should take us to say, I am in. So that's Maurice saying, I am in. Beautiful. Okay. But have you configured GitHub to deploy the docs? I have. So that part is, so I'm not clear on what I'm missing there, Maurice. The creation of the GitHub branch is the default. So there's very little to do there in terms of configuration. It kind of just works. So it's as long as, so cake.recipe is configured to push to GitHub Pages, the G8 Pages branches by default. And it all just kind of works after that. I see that Stevie has just joined the chat room as well. Oh, everybody's flooded in tonight. How are we doing, Stevie? Stevie has been working on magic, I've been told, and I'm going to get a demonstration of that magic tomorrow. So I'm excited to see all about it. It's super magical. There we go. So I'm waiting with bated breath to see the super magic emanating from Stevie tomorrow. He was going to show me it today, but didn't quite work out. But tomorrow, I haven't quite put a meeting request in my calendar yet, but I might. So we fixed the documentation for the Chocolatey Language Server. We should do the same for the other repository. You can fix it. Feel free. Oh no, I've been reliably informed this is another project. So it's not Vagrant, no. Stevie has a growing number of side projects. He's getting into this OSS thing. It's if it becomes an addiction, Stevie, I'll warn you. It becomes very addictive. I like the no agenda, no attenda. I hadn't actually heard that before. No agenda, no attenda. That's a useful little mantra there. I'd never heard that one. But no, I think we're not ready for the prime time though. This is a secret squirrel project at the minute. You did on WinOp. Did I? Where did I? It hasn't sunk in. If it was somewhere, I missed it because you did on WinOps. I must have missed something. So what we did over here was during the keynote from Puppet. I didn't attend the keynote from John O'Connor. Where was I? No, I didn't attend it. That explains why I didn't hear it. I must have been doing something other. Would I have been setting up for the workshop? Or was the keynote on a different day? We even had a... So no, I knew that he was going to be showing that picture, but I was not involved in it, unfortunately. So, yeah, that's unfortunate. I just put that in there, but I'm not convinced that that's going to work. But I guess we'll find out. We don't have that in there, so that's fine. So the other thing that I was going to look at while I was here was the docs. So in docs, in the index, that part's still fine. And that part's still fine. But this one is wrong. So this wants to be Chocolatey Community. And this here is Chocolatey Community. So if we run build target equals preview, is this going to work? That is indicative of another problem that we can fix, though. So if we do cake and install a bootstrapper and install the PowerShell one and override it, and do the same thing with our bash bootstrapper, and then we go in. This is a sideline. Anybody following along wouldn't need to worry about this. This is kind of a cake specific change that I'm doing here. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. If we go back here now, this should work. The way we used to handle arguments being passed into the bootstrappers that we use, it didn't necessarily like the standard formatting that we wanted to use, so we had to update the bootstrapper. So this repository obviously had an older version of those bootstrappers in play. He even had a... No, he wasn't. But I think he knew about the potential for there being that to be included, though. What version of YAMS being used? Interesting. So if this works, we can update this documentation, and this documentation should be pushed to the Chocolatey VS Code repository. So right now, there is documentation up there that if we grab this part and do VS Code. So this currently includes things like both commands and rules. The rules are no longer in this repository, so we want to remove them. So if this part works, so let's grab this and go up here. So this should just have docs now. Good. Chocolatey VS Code. Learn more takes us to learn more doesn't work. Does the learn more commands work? As in here. What's going on there? Do they work on the live site? They must. I think that's just a local... I think that's because of the way I'm previewing it that it's not working. But the main part is working, which was the removal of the the removal of the task section up here and the removal of the rules. So I think I'm happy to move forward with that. So I'm going to say commit that one. And where's my build.sh? Did that not change? My build.sh must not have changed. Interesting. Okay. So I'm going to say build, update, cake, boot, strapper, commit that. All of these can be removed. So go ahead and stage those ones. We'll say doc, remove, docs, moved to other repository. And then this is a docs. Let's do it the other way around. Let's take it out of there. And let's do this, which is going to be build, remove, graph generation, because we don't need it. And then this one is going to be doc, update, footer, links. Okay, if we do all of that, and we do Control C there, and we do git push upstream, of course, git fetch upstream, git rebase upstream develop, git push upstream. So the local and the upstream were out of sync because of all those PRs that Dependabot had merged in for us. So all I did there was replay my local changes on top of the upstream one and get them pushed in. So if we go back and have a look at our CI, and we look at the VS Code one, and we look at history, then the language client one failing is the PR that we mentioned earlier. So that's failing probably for good reason, and we need to figure out what's going on there. But the one that we're interested in just now is getting our docs updated. So once this kicks in, although it looks like there's something else. Oh, is this Maurice? This is Maurice. So this is Maurice updating a PR, or Maurice had a PR into the old repository, which was, he's closed it. Look at that, sneaky little badger. So there was a PR in here from Kevin R. I was getting to that, Maurice. I think it was this one. Add validation. Yeah, this one. Add validation for use of Chocolatey dependency. This was a PR that Maurice had opened quite a while ago. And he'd opened it against the Chocolatey VS Code repository. We then moved the whole Chocolatey language server implementation into the other repository. So Kim had updated saying we can move it over. So he has migrated it over to here, which is great. This was an Oktoberfest, a Hacktoberfest one. So I forget which this one was even doing. Part of Chocolatey 70, which was there, migrated from there. Add a rule which includes the Chocolatey dependency note. So let's have a quick look while we're waiting on that CI builds to finish. So this is the addition of a new rule. And along with that, there is a new rule file called Chocolatey dependency, blah blah blah, and this is a stub. So there's a couple of these that we need to go back on and fill the details in of. But in doing that, we probably update the documentation in the Choco Wiki directly as well. So what this one was attempting to do was runs validation of the current new spec to verify the dependency on the Chocolatey package ID. So it gets the string ID for the rule, which is that. Validation type is a note, so this one wouldn't come up as an error. It would come up as a different squiggly, indicating that this is probably a suggestion. So what we're saying here is var dependency, dependencies.any equals Chocolatey, ignoring the case. If it finds something, then we're creating a diagnostic that says blah blah. The package takes a dependency on Chocolatey. The reviewer will ensure the package uses a specific Chocolatey feature that requires a minimum version. That looks good to me. So let's see if our build is getting there. And if it is, we can go back and merge that PR from Maurice, because I don't see any reason to not do that. Oh, is that just finished? So over on Chocolatey VS Code, we should have just had a commit into our GitHub pages 22 seconds ago. We did. And if we go back to here and we do a wee refresh of this, then we only have a docs. Is that a cache? It was a cache. So on the home page, we have a link to learn more, which takes us to the docs. We have a link to the command, which takes us directly into the commands. GitHub takes us to referee. I thought I changed that. Or is that a cache issue as well? I thought I changed that. I did. It was a cache issue. So Chocolatey community, Chocolatey VS Code, and then this should open up the same Chocolatey community, which it does. Okay, so those docs look good to me. Let's just check that this link works. That takes us over to here with the index.html. Beautiful. How to use the Chocolatey VS Code extension. Interesting. Oh no, that is right. So it's this part here. Yes. Okay. Cool. So that's our docs updated. In which case, let's do this now. So let's do looks good to me. Approve, submit. And this is into there. Yep. So I'm going to say merge. There's no point in holding this up. We can say that, and we can do a PRT, which is a pull request. Thank you. Thank you very much, Maurice. That's going to go in. Right. So with that done, related issue is on there. That issue in itself might need to come over, but that's fine. So with that done, that should kick off another CI build. CI is working overtime tonight. Thank you for the cheer. I appreciate your cheer and I appreciate your work on this project to date. Now, there was something that I think I wanted to talk to you about, Maurice. Do you remember, cast your mind back to when we were working on this, like a year ago. Did we have a configuration option to allow the turning on and off of URL validation? The reason I asked the question is because of the URL validation issues that we have been having on the package validator, I am wondering if it makes sense to allow that to be turned on and off. So we've got it in general for enabling or disabling the language server at all, but I think we need to go take it back a little bit and say that we also want to enable and disable specifically the URL validation. I think we should backsync them. What does that mean? I'm not clear on what you're talking about. Are we talking about the same thing, or are we talking about different things here? Yes, no, absolutely. Yes. So the fixes that we put into package validator, we need to put into the URL validation in the LSP server. Absolutely. We do need to do that. But I still think we might want an overall configuration that says, do you want to enable URL validation within the LSP? Just so that folks can decide that they want to perform that work or not. So let's just wait and see if this works as we expect it to. And if we get some updated docs. Oh no, this isn't updated docs. Oh no, it is. Sorry. I'm getting lost in what we're talking about here. So this should result in some updated docs for a new rule that is Choco 3003, which is a new rule which is on the Chocolatey dependency. So thinking on that, do we need to update number 70, or did Maurice do it already? So he has ticked it off already. Look, good stuff. So this is kind of this is our shopping list of rules that we wanted to implement in the Chocolatey language server implementation. Marisa saying, I think we had something to disable a rule from the config, just like Markdown Lint did, or like we wanted that. So yes, and absolutely, we do still want to do that. But I guess I just have a concern that the URL validation is potentially going to throw invalid results across the board. And rather than having it running off and getting invalid results, I think I might just want to have a top-level configuration that says, don't do it anymore. So that's ran. So if we go back to that's the wrong one. This is the online one. We should probably put links between the two. Language server. So in here, we should now have rules. And here we have the guideline that is the Chocolatey dependency. So this is stubbed out. Yes, exactly that. Well, or it. But we added. So these are ticked, but what rule did they fall under? Oh, I used the wrong Control F again. The amount of times I do that. Control F. Valid. So so the way we implemented it here is under a single rule, and I remember us talking about that. So just to keep this consistent, then, so we have. I am not sure. I am not sure that it's actually there. What's it in this context? No, I think I did if I recall correctly, I had a I had a spike that was doing it. Or no, I forget. I think I might have had it working, but it wasn't. Although you would enable the override, it wouldn't refresh on the page, so it wouldn't. So even though you said override the rule, it is this one, it would still have squigglies underneath it. I think it's where I got it to. But I've got some open questions in the LSP Slack team to Tyler, who was working on the PowerShell LSP implementation, and I'm hoping that he can kind of point me in the right direction or a couple of things. So I see that Maurice is in the LSP. So there is, I don't know if you come in, oh you did, so you joined the LSP one as well. So you comment in general and you've added LSP, so that's good. Maurice Kevin just joined. Choose a welcome. Choose a welcome message or send or type your own below. I'm going to click a button. Okay, so where do we get to? And that's where I decided that that's how I was going to call it. Right. So what are we going to do next? Kim has a draft PR, which is to add unit tests for all the things. So this is I haven't looked at this yet because he's left it as a draft. Oh, hold on. Manfred's shouting at me. Let's have a look. Let's have a little confirmation, and then we'll see. So we're going to click on moderator view here. Dun dun dun. Woo! Look at that. So the 4 submitted are pending automated review. Look at that. Amazing. And then the updated ones are, yeah, these are ones that, these are some of my ones I need to respond back to. I'll leave some to you, Maurice. Thank you very much, Manfred. Yeah, but have you noticed the changes, the update that Steph's been making? So this number up here now correctly matches the number over here. There was some debate about the whole unknown status that was here. So it's been removed just now in favor of only the ones that are directly impacting the moderation queue. So it's a little bit easier to grok than it was before. So little minor changes coming through, which are all good. Okay, so that's that one. So what pull requests have we got here? I'm curious about I'm getting sidetracked. What simple icons? SVG icons for popular brands. Never heard of this. I think that is where I'm going next, Maurice, yes, but I'm also curious about this thing you've just sent me. So, no, Windows, no, not right now. Remind me later. SVG icons for popular brands. So, this second one that you've sent me, I know and use quite often, which is shield.io. I use this one quite often. But how do shield.io and simple icons go together? Why would I use both? Oh, and then there's a question mark over whether they would be allowed to take that and put it up here. Well, they've got a NuGet one. No, that's just an SVG. Oh, is it? Hold on. Insert one of the named logos from Bitcoin, Dependabot, GitLab, PayPal, Service Vault, or simple icons. Huh. Huh. Read the URL params at the bottom of this page, or or from the other page. Shields. Logo. Interesting. I don't think I knew about that one. I mean, I've done PRs into shields.io. That was back in the day. Where's the repository? Is it this one? Shields. PRs. Let's have a wee look. See if I remember what I did. Author. Get 30. Look. Let's have a look. Oh, 2 of them. Look at that. Cooking with gas. Oh yeah, it was the homebrew integration. What are you sending me? Yeah, I added in we wanted to be able to show the download count for Cake from Homebrew. So we had to add a shield icon for it because there wasn't one. So in order to get this one, I had to do a PR into shield.io. What? I forget how this even worked. It was some weird and wonderful... Oh, it was a JavaScript regular expression, wasn't it? Oh, it was fun and games. Oh, it was fun and games. But yeah, it all worked in the end. Right. Did not know about the integration with simple icons, so that's a good thing to know. So if anybody using shields.io and they want to integrate it with icons, then you can do that. Did not know about that. So hold on, where's that issue that you just sent me? I'm going to subscribe to that issue. I'm going to subscribe to it. So the only no, it should be okay. It should be okay for them to use the SVG. What? You've been learning Rust, have you, Manfred? You're not the only person that I know about that has been doing that recently. Anyway. Oh, I've got notifications coming. I need to switch off my notifications. Right. I want to look at this one to find out what's going on. So first of all, let's have a look at the failing build and see what's going on there. Not sure if I can ignore this one. Hold on. Blah, blah, blah. What's coveralls and why would upload coveralls be failing? There are a few reasons that it could be failing. Link to failing build. Okay. In fact, let's maybe just go have a look. I just got a GitHub message from Jonathan. Let's go and have a wee look at something. We might have to take a slight tangent so that I can have a look at this while I'm got some time. He's saying that the coveralls report is failing, and I'm almost convinced I know why. So, blah, 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 blah. Coveralls report couldn't find. Is that what it's saying? Upload, could not find part. I am on my stream just now, but fairly sure I know exactly what the problem is. We'll send in a PR just now. Okay, so let's do a quick clone of this repository. We're doing a slight tangent. Oh, you've tagged it. Have the bits shipped, i.e. in a meeting, or I'd watch. Okay, hi. Oh no. No. All publishing tasks are attempted, even if one fails. He's saying he's in a meeting, and he can't. So it should have still gone out. Well, still send in a PR though. Okay, so what's happening here is if we go to this repository, I'm not in a meeting. Nope. So cake.apple simulator is a cake add-in, a big meeting mechanic, big virtual meeting. So cake.apple simulator is a cake.add-in that Jeffrey Huntley made eons ago. I don't actually know what it does because I don't do a lot of virtual hunting. I don't do a lot of iOS development, but it does something. And Jeffrey went off to the land of Haskell. He doesn't really do much .NET development anymore, he's back into the fold a little bit now. But anyway, he went off to do Haskell for a bit, and as a result, thank you very much. As a result, this add-in was neglected, let's say. So Jonathan or Redth on GitHub's has picked it up and he's ran with it. So he's in the process of updating it. So one of the steps within cake.recipe failed, and it failed for kind of a known reason. So let's just have a quick look and see if we can't fix it for him. So cd, and we'll talk through what that is. So we're going to do a git clone of that guy, and we will cd into cake.apple simulator, and then we will do a git remote add upstream to the upstream, get those things synced up, and I will preemptively say that there is a bot that can do these things for you. I tend not to, but I know that there are some on the stream who make use of them very often. But there you go, pullbot. I tend to not use them, but that's fine. Or not for repositories that I'm working on directly. I tend not to use Pullbot, but Pullbot is very good at what it does. In the same way that Dependabot is amazing, and ImageBot. Let's just talk about all the bots again. Okay, but if I do a build here, if I just run this, then it will store the packages, it'll run the compilation, it'll run dupe finder, it'll run inspect code, it'll run unit tests, and then in preparation for publishing the unit test results to Coveralls. So Coveralls is an online service. If we walk up to coveralls.io, it's a visualization of your unit testing history. So if we sign in here with GitHub, I'm not sure if I've got any projects of my own. No, I don't. But it lets you visualize the trend. So you'll see here, it shows you the trend of the unit test coverage and whether it's going up or down or left or right, whichever direction it's going. So it takes the code coverage metrics that you generate locally, uploads them there, and just visualizes them. That's all it does. Now, what's happening here is we are making use of OpenCover to generate the in cake.recipe, we are using a tool called OpenCover to take the results from the unit test execution, package them up into an XML file, and that XML file can then be shipped to coveralls.io for visualizing that. Now, down here, we will see that the failing step was the upload of the coveralls report. So the OpenCover.xml file was generated. So if we go and look at the file system, so if we go over here and we have a look, if we look in our build artifacts and we look in test results, then we'll see that that's not the one I wanted. In test coverage, it generated a OpenCover.xml file. That was generated from the unit test report, and the unit test report was made into an HTML file that's made for visualizing. So if we double click on this index.html and just say open in Google Chrome, then even here we kind of get metrics. So local metrics that we get, so we can look at that report. So we can see what our overall coverage is, what lines it goes down, what lines are covered, what branches are covered, all that sort of stuff. But what it then tries to do is it then tries to upload all the required information to coveralls.io so that when you go into coveralls.io and you click on something, you can actually get information about the code that is being inspected. Now, the problem is, and if we look at the actual error message, the error message was back here. The error message over here is saying, blah, 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 could not find part of the path, fluent assertions, source, JetBrains annotations.cs. Right? You all people need to run on-premise DC. Azure DevOps for Life, Jenkins, CI debate. Don't even get me started on CI debate. AppVer for the win. So the problem here is that whilst it's uploading the opencover.xml to coveralls.io, it's trying to also upload the .cs file that was required, or the .cs file that's being inspected, so that it can visualize some data on that stuff. But the problem here is that we don't actually care about fluent assertions. Fluent assertions is being inspected because by default, OpenCover will look at all the source code files and all the references and try and make assertions on that. So you'll see here that we don't have any unit tests covering any of these things, or very few of them, because that's not the code that we're interested in. So we actually want to omit all of the JetBrains and namespaces, and we also want to exclude the fluent assertions namespaces, leaving us only the code that we're actually writing within these within this add-in. So I did this recently on another project, and I always forget the syntax, but if we go in here and we look at our recipe.cake file, then here there is a section in here that is test coverage filter. So by default, we are filtering out all of the things that we actually don't want to apply unit test coverage to. So basically all the things that we are not in direct control of. So by default, we're excluding all XUnit stuff, all cake.core stuff, all cake.testing, anything that ends in .tests, and anything that starts with fake it easy. So we need to add in a new one in here for, and this is the part that I always forget, I think it's this part here. So anything that starts with fluent assertions. So if we stick in fluent assertions here, then what should happen is if we run this build again, it will then apply that filter to the results here, and the only ones that we'll be interested in, or the only ones that are left, are the cake.apple simulator ones. So let's just see if that is going to work the way I want it to. Stevie Coaster, Stevie, there is an AppVer server. Yes. And there are also on-premise Azure build agents. Yes, there are. Is there a Chocolatey package for the Azure on-premise build agent? I don't know if there is. I don't think so. I seem to remember someone ID. SDK for build servers. Pipelines agent. Yes, there is. I had a feeling that it was David. The cross-platform build and release agent for Azure Pipelines and Team Foundation Server 2015 and beyond. And then, yeah, you can provide the URL to the thing that it's meant to connect to. Okay, so that has ran again. And if we refresh this, right, so it's now excluded all of the things that we weren't interested in have been removed from the report, so the only things left in the report are the things that we're actually writing code for. So I think that's all we need. So I'm going to check out, well, minus B, fix build from master, and then in here we will put in build exclude fluent assertions from code coverage. Code coverage by default when uploading to coveralls.io, it attempt to upload all .cs files for all CS files for things that it has inspected. Fluent assertions is referenced in the code base and therefore open cover was trying to include it. Adding this to the array of exclusions means that it won't be inspected going forward. So I can commit that and git push origin. I need to do that because that branch doesn't exist. And then if I go over here and go to here, I should get a little compare pull request. So this is going from the base repository from there. I'm going to request that and create. And I'll send a message to PR sent. Copy, paste. Okay, so that's that off my to-do list. I can close some of these again now. Close that. Okay, so what I was going to look at was this. What's it actually failing on? It's failing on so this is the kind of thing that doesn't show up properly in the logs. But if we go back up here and go to Chocolatey community and we look at Chocolatey VS Code, that one, git status, git reset, don't need that, hard, git fetch upstream pull, 322 head PR 322 git checkout PR 322. I know. Because I want to build. So in this case, it wouldn't have made any difference. It wouldn't have made none. What I've checked out there is the actual merge. So it's what would go into the. It makes no difference in this case. But I just want to see the build run. Normally when I'm looking at a PR, it's coming from an upstream remote that we don't have direct access to without adding a remote locally into the repository. Depending on what creates the branch directly in the repository, so that's not needed in this case. It's, yeah, no other reason than that. It's what's under my fingers. So I suspect that what's happened here is that between the 521 and 610 of the VS Code language client, there's been a breaking change basically. So it's went from 5 to 6, so it's not unexpected. So what we need to do is look at what the differences are and attempt to fix them. And I have 9 minutes left in which to attempt to do that before I need to go to bed. So now, if we open this up, I think currently you have a square clicky thing under your fingers. I think currently you have a square. Oh, can you hear that? I do. I've got my fidget cube. CSS sucks. Brought to you by Stevie Coaster. I apologise. It's a nervous habit of mine. I kind of need to have something to play with like that. So it's either a pen, or it's a fidget cube, or it's something else. It's a stress ball. It's a juggling ball, kind of whatever. Ooh, oh, that comes up. Oh, weird. My juggling ball is green, so it's coming up weird on the stream there. There we go. Was it an original fidget cube from the Kickstarter? Was it? Have you had an altercation with Japs? Show errors. So what are we saying? How many? There's 12 of them. It's the one the university brought. Ooh, interesting. VS Code module. VS Code has no exported member selection range provider. Huh. Well, that's not really. Oh, hold on. That doesn't really help me in my. Oh, it's in the call. Oh, I'm confused. Oh no. So it's added that, and it's added that. I wonder. This might have to be a Friday stream session, but let me just have a quick sneaky peek at what I'm debating is. That's not the same one, is it? Over here. There's no export. Because all of these are in the lib folder. So none of those are. It's almost as though it needs a higher version of VS Code. But it's the newest one. So that doesn't make any sense. Really? Let's just have a quick sneaky peek at VS Code has no exported member symbol tag. Why is that a snowman? What is that all about? Cheering emote global. Thank you very much. Why 23? Is that a magic number for you? Or did that take you to a magic number? It made you the same. So 2424. Is that what you're going for? Yeah. Why would that fail? So all of this selected range and selected, that concerned me because we are using ranges that come back from the language server to then highlight sections of the thingamabob, the squigglies, where the squigglies live, like where these live. But that's taken care of by we don't really play with that very much. So I think what you're referring to there, Maurice, is my initial thought. Yes, I was trying to verify that this thing here takes a dependency on the newest version of VS Code, but we kind of already have that in play. So I think we already are at that point. But no, I had the same thought. So the only thing then would be, it shouldn't care though at this point. Yeah, there is a disconnect though between, I think there's a disconnect between the underlying, because this is the VS Code, this isn't the, what am I trying to say, npm js.org. Yeah. The VS Code package, there's a disconnect between the actual published VS Code application and the underlying VS Code thing. So 1.1.36 is the latest. Although, what's this? Use types VS Code and VS Code test instead. The functionality of VS Code module has been splitted into types VS Code and VS Code types. They have fewer dependencies, allowing greater flexibility in writing tests and continue to receive updates. Well, that could be part of it. So let's look at this then. Maybe just as well we went and had a look here. For goodness sake. Just copy. That was the wrong copy as well. I'm going to take that out then. And then in here, we're going to put types / VS Code. There's a migration guide. Who needs a migration guide? Remove that. Add that. Hold on. That's the old VS Code module. also has these within type definition. You need to manually install types VS Code that follows the engine.vs code in package.json. For example, if your engine is that, so what's my engine? My engine. Or is that what I was looking for before? Did I greater than 130? So which one was it trying to add in? Types 114. So if it was install 130, so why is it giving me 114? I'm so confused now. So I'm using engine 130 install types VS Code 130. There is no types VS Code 130. Somebody's lying. Who is lying? Types VS Code language server. This one. There is one. Mother Hubbard. "28 versions. 141. I'm so confused. Let's just update them all, shall we? 141. Let's stick it in. What's the worst that can happen? Now, it did say, what did the migration guide, the thing that we weren't following, what did it say? It said that we needed to do something else. Migration guide. Use product, step 3, find docs. Sounds about right. Remove post install node modules bin install VS Code bin install. Where was that? Remove this guy here. Beautiful. Packaging. Add a test script that you can run sample project. Point test. I'll come back. There's going to be a little bit more there, isn't there? But I feel we still need a VS Code test something. VS Code test. I'm running out of time, right? Give me a number. Sounds good to me. Right. So if we try and run this now, what does it do? What does it do? Mm-hmm. Oh. Huh. It appears to be working. Appears to be. So if we go and do a quick test here. Oh, hold on. What did that say? That's okay. That's okay. Because that server is not at that location anymore. But it's running the extension that it wasn't before. So the only thing that's left then is this other little note here, which is you can use runtest.ts in the sample as a starting point. Hold on. Who needs tests? Some of us are lucky enough to have a production. I have multiple productions I can use. What does that say? Is that a flip table? What? I have no idea what that is, Manfred. Ship doesn't work on Twitch. No, it doesn't. That does not do what I want to do. Nope. I think there is Ask a Art for Twitch. There could well be. Okay, but I'm overdue now. I need to figure out what's going on here. But let's do this. Let's keep doing the wrong copy. Copy, maint, over here. Nope. That is the one I want. So here, I will add a note. Had a look at fixing this on stream, but didn't quite get it finished. Seems to be related to this. And we'll put in, again, wrong paste. This one, comment. Okay, so that's it from me, I think. I got quite a bit done today, so happy with. So we've got the docs updated in both language server and VS Code. We merged some pull requests, and almost at that point. So was this your PR? Oh, this is Stevie's one. So this PR is relevant to this database, to this repository. So we just need to finish off that and figure out what we're going to do with that. And at some point, we need to figure out how we're. So that the thing that's currently failing is pulling the language server protocol implementation DLL from somewhere to put into the v6 for the package. That's the part that's currently failing. I've asked the question of Tyler, so I'm hoping that he'll get back to me at some point. And if he does, we can kind of hopefully steal some of the work that was done in the PowerShell VS Code extension and pull that into Chocolatey. And then at some point, as I said to Kim, I kind of want to just ship it. Now, I know that we haven't necessarily got all of the things that we wanted, so we maybe don't have support for every single rule that we want, but I think we're maybe in a position to maybe just ship where we are, get it in the hands of people, get some feedback, and then go back and fill in the blanks, basically, is where I think we're going with this. So yeah, a little bit of work to do, but getting there. Things are starting to fall into place, I think. So Friday's stream will be more of this. Monday evening stream will likely be more of this, because I would like to get something shipped, to be honest, because it's how long since the last release? It's been a while. The last release of this thing was in May, and then before that, January. So it's over a year before we've done anything with it, really. But there's been a lot of good work going to it, so I want to get something shipped. Yes, that would be good. If you could create an issue for that, Maurice, that would be good. The other one that was going through my head just now that's just escaped again was... No, it's gone. A clear sign that I am getting sleepy. So for now, I'm going to say farewell. Thank you all for coming and hanging out with me tonight, the afternoon, whatever time it is. Appreciate it as always, and hopefully see you on Friday. And special shout out to Manfred if he's still around. Thank you for taking a look at the moderation queue. Thank you very much. Okay, right. Talk to you all later. Bye bye.